This is a review of the Shengmilo MX06 step-through electric bike. I've ridden this for a couple of weeks now, so what I'll do is I'll go through the specs of the bike and share a couple of thoughts along the way. At the back we've got a 500 watt motor with a 1000 watt peak power I believe, and some hydraulic disc brakes. You've got a kickstand here which could be better, it could be a bit thicker at the bottom. Just makes it a little bit awkward when you're leaning the bike over, but it's not a massive issue. The rear pannier rack is brilliant, it's really strong, really sturdy. I think it can carry up to around 25 kg as advertised on Shengmilo's website. It's also got a rear brake light which is really handy, especially when you're on the roads a fair bit and it's night time. Anytime you pull the brake lever, the bike light comes on. On the other side, meanwhile, we've got a 7-gear hub, I believe, which it does the trick for what you want. Obviously, this is a throttle bike as well, so you don't necessarily need to pedal. I often do. In terms of the midsection of the bike, it's quite thick, obviously, to fit the battery in. A bit thicker than I expected, really, not as inconspicuous as I'd like. Over here you've got a little cover for the battery charger to go in, which is quite good, makes it waterproof. And there's the keyhole to undo or unlock the battery. So if we move over to the front of the bike, and we'll start off with the display. Now it's not a colour display, which isn't really a problem for me. You turn the display on and off by keeping hold of this M button here between the plus and the minus, so if I just keep hold of that, the screen turns on after a couple of seconds. Now I'll touch on the screen a little bit more when I do the speed test. The throttle meanwhile is a half twist throttle, no issues there, really works as I would expect it to work, no problems at all. You've got a front headlamp too, which I haven't used often yet, but it seems to be bright enough to do the job. Now the tyres are brilliant, the width is 3 inches, normal fat tyre bikes are 4 inches. What this means is, at 3 inches they're a lot more inconspicuous, and you will also still be able to fit most standard U-locks around the tyres. That's a really big point that I don't think most people consider. Now they come with 2 mud cards. The front one you have to fit yourself, which was a bit of a hassle. I had to kind of bend the metal at one point to get it to fit, but once it was in, it was in. The back one was already fit in the box. Next what we'll do is take a quick look at the bike battery. Now this is a 17.5 amp hour battery. It's a Samsung battery, so they've not scrimped on costs here. You're going to get something which is good quality. 2 keys come with the bike. It's fairly easy to use. You just turn the key. There's a little hook here at the top, and if you move that to one side, the battery kind of clicks out. And there you go, that's all there is to it, just kind of falls out into your hand. It's a heavy-ish battery, which is as expected for the size of the battery. I'd say it's around 4 kg, thereabouts. In terms of performance, it takes around 6 hours to charge from 0 to full, and if you're riding throttle only, you'll get around about 25 miles out of this. It goes back into the frame fairly easily. You just kind of slot it back in, make sure the little hook is at center, and then you turn the key, pull the key back out, and there you go. Looks really slick as well because obviously it's an integrated battery. Overall, it's a good battery and a good design fitting it into the frame. Now if we go to the back of the bike again, and just under the seat we can see a little handle. This is so incredibly useful to help just lift the bike up. Let's say you're in the garage and you want to maneuver the bike. It's really brilliant, and I'm glad that they included this on the bike. Now for the speed test, I've started off on a really steep short hill on grass, and I've gone full throttle past level 5. Here we go. Makes its way up the hill, but it really struggles at the top, which was a little bit disappointing. I should also mention that the bike comes speed limited to 15.5 miles per hour. But I did, for the purpose of this test, change the speed limit. So on flat terrain, on grass, past level 1, no pedaling, reaches about 5, 6, 7 miles per hour, which is as expected. I've then gone to past level 5, and again gone full throttle, no pedaling, and it's brought me up to around, I don't know, 18 miles per hour. The only problem is the screen lags a lot, so the actual speed on the screen doesn't reflect the actual speed you're going at, and sometimes the speed just freezes altogether, which is a little bit annoying. But the general performance of the bike itself is quite good for most purposes. It gets you up to a decent speed. If you want, you can pedal and the engine kicks in. If not, you can go throttle only. It gets you up hills, especially if you're on the road. Obviously there's less friction. It gets you up the hill just fine. You can pedal a little bit, you don't necessarily need to, and it's a fairly comfy ride too because of the size of the tyres. So overall, performance wise, I don't really have an issue with the bike at all. So here are my final thoughts in terms of pros and cons. The biggest pro in my opinion is the fact that the tyres are 3 inches wide compared to the standard 4-inch width. This means you can fit a U-lock around the tyre quite comfortably, and it also means they are more inconspicuous as opposed to a 4-inch fat tyre bike. Secondly, the battery, 17.5 amp hours, is a really good battery. It gets you really good distance. It is a bit on the heavier side, but that's kind of as expected. Third, the rear rack is really strong, really reliable. It's not going anywhere and it can carry a fair bit of weight. And finally, the last thing I'll mention is the fact that it's a step-through bike. It makes life so much easier getting on and off of the bike. There's a couple other pros, but they're the main ones that I wanted to focus on here. In terms of cons, I'd say there are a couple. The first is the fact that the screen kind of lags a lot when it's showing the speed. Sometimes the speed part itself just freezes. It doesn't really represent the actual speed you're going at, which is a little bit annoying. The rest of the screen looks absolutely fine. The battery level indicator is fine. The function is absolutely fine. But as I say, the speed itself isn't really representative of the actual speed you're going. The second thing on the list of cons is the kickstand. I think it could be a little bit wider at the bottom, just a little bit chunkier to give it that much more support. So all in all, it's a pretty good bike. I've got a couple of criticisms, but it doesn't take away from the fact that it is a good bike overall, especially considering the extras it comes with, such as the mudguards. So if you are looking to buy an e-bike and you're not sure what to get, I'd seriously consider the Shengmilo MX06.